You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.
We are one of the most technically advanced production companies in the world.
Go fuck yourself, Kyo. Now I gotta remember to say last names.
Hey, Ed, why don't you get this show started?
Oh, hey, okay. Welcome to the Skateboarding Bros Show. It's been a minute, and we're now all over. We are nationwide. I'm in the Central Standard Time. George is in Pacific and SLO. Phil Kyo is down in Sarasota, and Mr. Phil Hajal, our honored guest, is in Ocala, I think.
Yeah, you got it.
Woo! So I thank you for joining us. I was we were at I think we met at St. Pete, the St. Pete Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah.
And then when the brutal blizzard of 25 hit Jacksonville, we were there, and you were out skating, and everybody else is like inside freezing, and it was wonderful. And did you skate the slalom with Chuck?
No, I mean I skated the snake run for fun, but I didn't compete.
Yeah, that's
those guys are. It's a different level when you're competing. They're going for it. Like I wasn't prepared to die to win that day.
Exactly. You know? That's what happens. It's that fine of a line.
Yeah. So it was fun to watch. I'm a big fan of the slalom stuff. I'm a big fan of Chuck, and
indeed,
I've grew up with all those guys, so they're like my heroes.
Chuck was fast that day. He was just fast going down that bank slalom, the Kona.
He wanted it more than anyone else, that's for sure.
He lives for that shit. He loves the wiggle stick.
He does. I was a little disappointed I didn't get to see a couple of my guys that I would have loved to see. Like, I know some people don't like McGuigan, but I was hoping McGuigan would show up and skate and do the slalom. I don't know if you guys remember John McGuigan.
Oh, yeah.
I got some of McGuigan's original music I'm going to play under your voice right now. And yeah, it'd be great if John would show up. Come on, what's the deal here?
I have no problem with John. Other people do, but he actually put in way more years than I did. He supporting the scene in Kona, and he was just diehard for it. Some people are, I don't know, some people need to let go of the past.
Yeah, he's a character. Let's just put it that way. He's a character.
I think anybody that gets into extreme sports is a character.
So, yeah, that's true.
And there's an awful lot of people that live their life in fear. Oh, I can't do anything but skateboarding and extreme sport. My background, skydiving and skateboarding and all that. You know, there's a certain emotion there that you have to fight and do, and you go, yes. And you get back up if you fall down. But there's a big population of people that are just, I can't walk, I can't do nothing.
Yeah, can I ask
McGuigan, power to him. You know, he's writing crazy music and not crazy. I mean, he's doing.
No, it's crazy, Phil.
I'm into doo-wop, so he's doing stuff other than doo-wop. And
he's a crazy guy. Him and Monty, I always looked up to Monty mostly. Let's see, Chris Bauckham. I grew up skating with Chris Bauckham. Who else are the Gainesville guys? There's a lot of Gainesville guys. Donnie Meyer, Sam Meyer.
Sam.
Those are the guys, like, when I was a kid that were killing it already. So that's kind of who. There was no one from Ocala. It was just Gainesville.
You skated the basin?
I never got to, but I've seen pictures. I've seen Monty send me a bunch of pictures of even him as a kid skating basin. So I've seen all the pictures of when the concrete was brand new and everybody was skating it. I heard the stories of it closing and why it closed, and I've heard lots of different stories. I don't know which one's true or not, but
it doesn't matter as long as they're talking.
Yeah.
Probably a little bit of truth into all of that.
Yeah, sometimes belief gets in the way of a good story, you know?
Yeah. So that's kind of tragic having looking up to Bauckham. That's a no, I know. I met you years ago, Phil, in probably would have been the early 2000s, actually over at Baukham's house. And
nothing good's going on over there at this
Yeah,
point.
rude boy.
yeah, but yeah, that was, and we actually skated the Blueberry Ramp or
Oh,
something
okay.
there.
Yeah, that was it.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
it
it.
was good times. But anyway, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Phil
George,
Hajal, where are you? Where are you sitting now? So you're
I'm
in.
sitting inside our skate shop, Ocala Skate Shop. It's a very small shop, but it's the vert ramp is outside, and we kind of it's in the house, so it's a home business. I had a shop in Gainesville for 10 years, and when I built the ramp and then built the house, I just moved the shop into the third bedroom and put an exterior door and go straight to the ramp, and it was way easier to work at home.
Nice. Tell us about the ramp.
The ramps, I mean, it's a vert ramp. It's 10'9" transitions, 1'9" of vert. That's not a big ramp compared to like Tony's ramp. Tony's is 13 and a half, 11 and a half with two. A lot of the West Coast ramps are big like that. The 11 and a half with two is kind of standard. But
Yeah.
for Florida, 10'9", 1'9" is right in the middle. 40 feet wide, 14 feet of flat. Skate Light Pro, 5x12 sheets. And we get good sessions. Frazier mostly, and Jason Ellis will be here on Thursday. Looking forward to
All
that.
right.
Yeah,
Awesome.
So is this a
Yeah.
private ramp on your property? Is that what
yeah,
I'm
it
hearing?
is. It's private, but we let people skate. If they want to skate with us on Sundays, they're welcome to skate. You know, we're pretty. I don't know, owning the house and being like the guy liability and whatnot. Like I'm always scared someone's gonna get hurt, but we're pretty good at like making sure everybody's got their helmet, certified helmet on, you know, elbow, knee, or if they're really, really good, like that Jaime Mateo guy came and skated with no pads and just destroyed it with no pads.
Yeah.
He can skate with no pads.
And we're just a step back. Did you ever get to skate at the lakeside ramp in up in what, I guess it wouldn't be Gainesville. Where was that
Lake
town?
Noonan's Lake?
No,
You go straight out
No.
University Avenue. Even when
Yeah.
it curves, you keep going straight till it dead ends into the lake.
So I heard about that ramp. Was it
Okay.
not there for long? Was it, or was it?
It was. And
It
then
was.
then some bad stuff happened at the house, and the ramp owner decided that there would no longer be a ramp in his yard. So kids broke in, skateboards got stolen, just
Damn.
shit.
But
Typical.
you spoke of backup, so maybe I'll afford you another story. Mike,
But-
the guy who was renting the place that the ramp got built in the backyard of, I don't think there was any permits.
Hmm.
He had laid a big chain in there, made a big show of putting it in, locking it into, footers or some sort of poles with saccrete in them. He'd come home at night from the metro or whatever, 3:30 in the morning, and Bacham would be skating his ramp with ollie over the chain.
Ollieing the chain on the flat bottom.
So he got a pipe that was like 6 inches in diameter. Didn't bother Bacham at all. He was still ollieing over the thing.
Yeah, right. There you go.
That's some rude shit.
Yeah.
Well, Chris has been known to decorate a couple ice machines in his time, so we don't want to go that far. But he was ice skate. I was a local at Sensation Basin.
Okay.
Bill owned it. He built it in
Yeah.
a time when what was being built was primarily junk. And
That was terrible.
yeah, it was. So the park was awesome. But yeah, so when you talk about Chris and John, that's
You guys are familiar.
I just saw a picture of my kids. We were at Skateboard City. Remember in Port Orange, the first one I built? And the way the lighting was, you could just see how terrible the concrete was.
Oh yeah.
And it
Lumpy,
and so even my part. And I was wondering, Phil, when did because you built a park in Ocala, am I correct in that? When did geometry start getting into your brain and angles and smooth as you don't have to deal with that. When we did it, we thought, who knew? It was just new.
Yeah. Well, we had all of you guys to pull from for years, and then we had Tim Payne, and Tim knew everything. He built Chin Ramp and built all this stuff. So we all we had to do was sit down with a piece of paper at Tim's house. I remember it sitting at a table in his kitchen, and just drawing what we wanted. And we let him do the transitions and figure out what was good and what was right. So we came up with basic ideas. But now that I'm older, now I prefer certain transitions and certain certain angles and whatnot. But when I was younger, I didn't know what was
Right.
what.
I'm just thinking, I'm still 14 years old, 15, and
Yeah.
I got to take
Yeah.
a geometry class next, whenever it is, fall. And if they're a skateboarder, geometry should be just right on. Just thinking about it, just boom, every 3 feet, some geometrical motion. I'm
Mm.
trying to do stuff with these storm drains, do additive storm drain elements. So it's a mini skate park in a neighborhood. Hundreds of neighborhoods could have little storm drain skate parks, all geometry. And
Mm.
I just got excited about that. And I just wondered now, because I'm a skate park builder of ill repute, and
Right.
So
Yeah.
what is your ramp now? What's the ratios you got going there?
It's 10-9, so 10'9" transition. So 10'9" tall goes right to vert, and then you got 1'9" of vert. So it's 12.5 feet tall.
So the
wow.
tranny is just constant radius.
Yeah, it's just I don't know how they call it. It's not elliptical, obviously, but it's from it's 10'9" is how tall it goes right to vert. I
Right.
think that's what the transitions mean is it goes right to vert. If you had 11-foot transitions, it would be the transition would go all the way to 11 foot right when it's vertical, right?
Right.
The theory, yeah.
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 Bruce Whiteside was telling us all about some sort of, some sort of magic or something with that they had some St. Pete ramp that was elliptical on one side and
Yeah.
something on the other. And I was
learned
like,
a lot
whoa.
since
Yeah,
then.
George brings this up a lot of times. He say one part of that park is just great, but if it's off by a little bit, it's not as much fun. And
Right. Yeah. I've heard bad things about elliptical. Like I heard elliptical stuff is, I would think I rode an elliptical ramp in Germany years ago. Like Hans builds a lot of these G ramps, they call them, which some of them, the early days were elliptical. And it felt like it was tighter on the bottom and then like mellower as you go up. I can't explain it, but it felt weird. Have you
Yeah.
guys ridden elliptical?
So one of the early ellipticals was Rainbow Wave half pipe. Is a very good example of that, which was
Hated it.
a challenge.
Yeah, right.
fun.
Yeah. Sounds like no fun.
It was really bad. Well, it was like this.
Yeah,
Right.
it kind of went to vert.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was,
Let's take a look at some pictures, Edgar.
all right, let's see if we can find some.
while Ed's bringing that up, what about retrofitting the swimming pools? Not in Florida because they'd pop out of the ground, but up north or whatever. But where they've built them straight walled, can you fill in a transition and make them into something?
Shit, I don't know. I'm not the concrete guy. Like I was always a vert ramp guy or wooden bowls mostly. Even though I grew up skating Ocala, the Thrashers Park, which was all concrete. It was still like mostly I skate wood ramps.
No, okay.
This ramp is metal, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's a wood ramp with
I
metal
just-
surface.
I just bring that up because there's 10 million swimming pools that only get used for 3 months out of the year. And
I
they
know.
could be skatable with a little bit of
That's
little bit of attention.
You can
There's-
see
That,
that
picture,
behind it.
that picture behind you could be a swimming pool straight down and just put in the transitions, blow some concrete in there.
Yep, that's a cool park, man. I missed that place. That was really cool.
Where's this?
This is Ocala. This is Thrashers. Tim Payne.
Wait a
did
minute.
all
Wait a
this.
minute. What's this say up here?
Adam Luxford's up top in this there's a little square up there. There's a picture of Adam Luxford up top left.
Oh,
Can't really
okay.
see it.
Oh, I got you. It says
Yeah, yeah.
Stonehenge.
And
Well,
it's funny thing about this picture is that if I don't know if you can see the bottom, but on the bottom they called me Josh at the time. It was my first picture in a magazine, and
Oh,
they got
wow.
the wrong name.
So interesting observation. If you go back to that shot,
well,
Uh,
as soon as we get the monitor to come back on.
you'll note that very young Phil is still wearing long pants, and that's something that is
Yeah, that's a Gelfand thing there.
that's his only
Yeah.
only Phil continues. Gelfand stopped doing it in the 70s, but yeah, Phil, I guess he's carrying on the tradition.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that guy. What's his name?
Alan Gelfand.
Oh, Gelfand.
Alan
I
Ollie
didn't realize
Gelfand.
that. He used to wear pants?
He used to wear
Jesus.
Corduroy stuff.
Levi corduroys with duct tape pockets, and
Huh.
yeah, look, we probably got some earlier photos.
I want to interrupt here just a second because Ed is having some technical difficulties at our new world headquarters near Pensacola, Florida. So,
Okay. Is there there's an AI factory there that's sucking up all the juice or something?
Oh, I don't know what happened.
use your hand signals. I think that works better now.
Yeah.
It's like a hand remote. The middle finger sometimes works.
So Phil Hajal, how is the Preakness? What's your thoughts on that?
The what?
While we're waiting for Ed, this is called a time delay.
Well, we're into
Okay.
horse racing now. So journalism wins the
Oh,
Preakness.
yeah, you're talking horse racing shit. I mean, yeah, my family's done horse racing my whole life. I grew up on a horse farm. So I'm very familiar with horses and horse racing. It's more dangerous than skateboarding, I think.
Fuck yeah.
You know, like people don't
There was a
realize
lot
how-
of bumping in the Preakness. This was 2025. If anybody's watching this in a couple hundred years, there was some banging and bumping on the. There's only 8 horses in the run, but they were banging and bumping. So yes, definitely dangerous. There was a female jockey in this year too. So
Oh yeah, that's right. What's her name? Do you remember her name?
yeah, I
think she's
do, but I
pretty
just can't
famous.
pronounce it. It's
Yeah, I know you're talking about though, because there's
it's a family horse, family run horse.
Oh Jesus.
Anyhow, it was great, and
Edgar just logged off, for fuck's sake.
he might have to restart it or something, you know.
Yeah.
He has to restart his computer.
So I saw you were riding rails in the picture. So were you a Schmidt Sticks, or what was
I was sponsored by Monty, and whatever he would give me, I would ride. So I don't know what his sponsor was back then for rails, but whatever they were.
Got it. And this was when Monty was in Gainesville still?
Yes. He was in Gainesville, and he was I guess, kind of still in the heyday, 89, 88.
Yeah.
So he was still getting paid, and he was still flying around. I think he was on BBC at the time. And after that, I think shit hit the fan and the industry died. And, you know, crazy.
Is the industry going through a pattern now? This is 2025 now. We died in 82 or so. We died again around 90 or something. And then it boomed up again after the Olympics. It seemed to be pretty popular. What's happening now?
What I see is probably different because nothing affects me here in my little bubble, but I see it growing still. Like, I mean, I know you guys see it. It's still in the Olympics. It's going to be in the Olympics next year or next time, whenever that is. When is it? Is it 26 or 28? I don't even know. It's every 4 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's in the Olympics, I think it's going to continue to grow. We got Ocala Skate Park here is finishing their park. They're getting 2 more bowls. They're getting a snake run. They're getting
Nice.
A pump track
course. A little. So the story behind it is Monty asked me. He said, "Put a pump track there, and for the old guys." And I was like, "Well, shit, we can't do a pump track, but maybe we can kind of incorporate a pump track snake run somehow, like make it to where the snake run is more friendly, rather than Have you skated any of the snake runs recently, like that Tim makes? They're kind of big and they have like coping. They're like you can grind them, and they're not really like a traditional snake run.
Now that I've skated the one at Venice, the Venice skate park, has got a fun snake run. It's short, and that's where a lot of the well, that park is just crowded all the time because everyone loves going in there and doing their
I'm
fly out.
pushing for pump tracks, not only for old geezers like myself to just go maybe cruise, but for very beginners too, just to be able to go down a hill and come up into another one and that type of thing. So
Yeah, yeah, I like them. I'm a big fan of the pump track.
you
Did you
know what
guys
I'd
get a
like to see
chance?
more of is this. Have you seen this longboard ballet on and modern dance on longboards that a
Mm,
lot of women are starting to find, not and guys too, but it's a whole dance move on a longboard as you're moving along, and I think that could be a huge uh, impetus for more fun. It reminds me of that film from India, The Skater Girl. Have you seen that movie?
mm,
She gets on the board, and it was like when I first got on the board, and I'm in the back asphalt of bricks parking lot, and I just flowed, and I go, "Whoa, this is great!" And so it was a dance routine just by floating, and I see that becoming pretty popular.
mm.
Uh,
Yeah, I know. It looks fun.
it is fun. Well, I think it
Yeah.
is. I can't do it, but I
Okay,
got
so we got. What
Ed's
do you
not
think? What do you
Ed. You're
think this board is? Looks
muted.
like it's got a nose kick.
That is the mini Monty. I have that board.
Uh,
I have that board on my wall. I don't know if you can see it in the background, but
okay.
let's see. You
And
see it
those
up
are
there?
Monty's rails. Those what you were talking about.
That's the Monty, mini Monty over there.
So that's the BBC Mini Monty.
Yeah.
And is that what the hell trucks are those? Is that Thunder?
GNS. Monty rode for
Yeah.
GNS. So we were riding. I was riding
Oh,
GNS. He rode for Big Balls. So I had slime ball, big balls. Bearings
nice.
is your guys' guess as good as mine. I don't remember who he
Yeah.
rode for, but yeah, anything I got from him, I would skate. And I'd never been hooked up like that. I don't like BBC. My team manager was Bill Danforth,
Uh-huh.
and I would get boxes. I think I must be like shit. What was it, 88? So I'm maybe 10 or 11 years old, and I was getting boxes of like 10 boards back in 1988. And like, what do you do with if you're a little kid? Like one vert board lasts me for 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't. I only have one left though. After all these years, I wish I had.
Uh, uh,
That's the same board.
That is, and
Ed,
that's
you're muted.
Yeah, he does got his mute on.
and was Vision, did you get the Vision hookup or is that you had to buy your shoes?
I'm pretty sure I bought those from Water Spots, which was the local shop back then.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's talking. Ed, you're talking, but you're muted. Fix
I'm
yourself.
you skated for 2
There
years,
you are.
got picked up by Monty.
Say again.
You skated for 2 years and Monty picked you up.
So I think I started skating more like 85, and then Monty probably picked me up in 88 or 89. It didn't take long, like, because we had a park. Like this park got built a year or two after a year after I started skating. The ramp came second, but the concrete was there. They had a little mini ramp, and then they had this weird little 8 foot tall vert ramp with a channel, 16 foot wide ramp too. I forget whose ramp that was, but it was moved over there. And then I had a ramp in my yard too. Like I built a ramp 8 foot tall, 8 foot transitions, PVC coping,
Nice.
cut in half. Monty cut it in half and screwed it on for me as a kid. That was cool to see him come over and do that. That was
Where is this picture?
This is Ocala. This is the original park. That's the hip that I'm going over right there.
Okay.
Behind me is the center, they call it. Man, I miss that place. Though it was See, this is what I mean. Like, there's no coping anywhere. It's more of your old traditional.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's kind of the old style there.
Yeah,
Yes.
second generation skate park.
Yeah.
Got start to understand a little bit about making the concrete smoother, but still not nailing it.
No,
But
you
it
can
looks
tell
fun.
just by the shadows there. There's going to be some interference with your feelings there.
Yeah.
Is
But
that
it was pretty
rust?
smooth. It was smooth.
Why it's not there any longer? What happened with this park?
I'm pretty sure they bulldozed it, and there's I forget who owns it. I just recently ran into the person who owns the same property, and it's like they sell pallets. There's just a bunch of pallets on that whole property. But man, when that park closed, we kept going there for like at least another year or two.
Yeah.
Good.
You know, it was, I don't know if you guys ever drove by there back in the day, but it was there for a long time.
Nice. That so with BBC and Danforth as your team manager, that's freaking awesome. Between Monty and Danforth, that's a hell of a mentor. That's
Yeah, I didn't know Danforth was my team manager at the time. I didn't until recently. You know, he lives in Florida now.
yeah.
Speaking to him on the phone and just hearing some stories, like I didn't realize until within the last probably 6 or 7 years, that he was my team manager back then.
So
And that explains maybe why they fucking went out of business, because he was giving everybody so much shit. Like he was like, yeah, we would just pile stuff in there for everyone. People were getting just huge packages.
Well, that's
So
nice.
I keep seeing this picture of you with a jacket on. So Ed, that's the St. Pete Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Is that when you were inducted into the Florida
Yeah.
Skateboard
Yeah,
Hall of
yeah.
Fame?
That was the St. Pete one. What do you guys think about the St. Pete Park?
I
It's
think the bathrooms suck.
it's Burley, the humbler, I think they call it.
Yeah.
That bowl. I used to think I skated a lot of vert, but it doesn't seem like a good design. When if you drop in the shallow, for me, I had a little moment. I had to make sure everything was okay, and then I could consider what I'm doing next. But that bowl looks like you drop in and you immediately have to compress to handle the next waterfall. And I saw you skating it. I was like, why is he doing this? This is really dangerous. I mean, that's one of the only parks I've seen that make me feel like it's a little burly.
Yeah. Yeah. I've only dropped in on it and turned around and got out. Like, I never really skated it. But it was built I think for Fraser and Anthony Furlong. I think they wanted a vert ramp, essentially. So that was as close to a vert ramp as you can get with concrete.
Yeah.
With
I
almost
like the
no
little
flat
pool.
bottom.
Little pool's fun. The little pool's great. I enjoy the hell out of
That one looks cool. I didn't get to skate. It was also crowded, but it looks fun.
it.
Yeah, that was an active little pool. Kelly Lynn was riding it. That was fun.
What?
Nice.
So was that a unit? We got just the tail of that. What was that?
That's Indy 720. Yeah, Indy 7 on the Warp Tour. I was on the Warp Tour for a long time, way too long. But
Well, what was that like? I mean, doing a
No shirt, but again, long pants.
I know, right? I don't wear. What's funny is I wear shorts now, so I need to bring back the pants.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, you got room for sponsors. If you have pants, you can put NASCAR down the side or whatever.
I know, it's just so hot now. Like, it's getting brutal. That's Africa. That's South Africa.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at all the white people in Africa.
So how are you down in Africa? Was this with a tour or a sponsor or what?
So there's every year they have a downhill event there, right? It's like they go up to the top of Table Mountains behind me, and they downhill, and it's a contest. It's pretty big, and Red Bull sponsors it. I don't know if they still do this. I went twice. But man, I couldn't. What a place! Like that place was so rad.
So,
At the same time, super dangerous too.
so everybody's at the top of the hill, bang, go, and then it's every man for himself.
Yeah, yeah, like thrashing. You know,
Oh yes,
it's
I
just
Yeah.
like this. Yeah, it is like that.
That'll draw the spectators when athletes get all torn up. That brings
Yeah.
spectators.
Cape Town's a trip. I don't know if you guys ever been to Africa, but it's a culture shock for sure. Like I didn't understand the politics there, but it's crazy.
So this is post-apartheid, or no? This is pre-apartheid.
I think so.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
post-apartheid.
Is it?
Yeah, apartheid. Well, so
When did
What year
Mandela
was
come
this?
out?
this is
We
late
have a
80s.
year.
Man, I would say 2000.
Yeah. So yeah, it's post-apartheid, but are we ever going to get rid of, will it ever be fully, done? I mean, fuck, we're talking about Nazis right now in the United States. I mean, fuck.
If anybody can do it, skateboarders can do it.
That's
I
right.
know. That's the one cool thing, right? Like skateboarding crosses all boundaries.
That's right. I saw this thing of these kids in Gaza skateboarding. A couple of gals on this board. I go, man, they're lucky they saved the board. Everything else is gone, and they're out there cruising around having fun. Good for
I
them.
know that is crazy.
So this is interesting. Just to read this blows me away. How many? What is it? Something to keep in perspective is there was none of this going on when we were skating,
Right.
and not only was it going on all over the world, there was this boatload more people trying to win the contest. Just exponentially larger than the pool that we skated against in Florida anyway. And George and I both made it to California, but that was a big deal,
Yeah.
And to see this all over the places.
Yeah, but and more perspective is even now it's way bigger than the pool from back then. Like
Right.
the level of competition now is way gnarlier than even when we were skating too.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy, man, how
It's-
good they are these days. The kids are so good.
Yeah, I get so I live in California. I'm in Pismo Beach, but I get down to like the Huntington Vans place, and it's incredible because you'll be just there on a Wednesday afternoon. I'll if I've got work down there or something, I'll drop in and eat my lunch while I'm watching the skaters, and it's just incredible the talent.
Right.
They're on again a Wednesday afternoon. Hey, we're gonna go skate. Okay. And there's, 4 or 5 kids trying, Indy 5 over the hip to Narjar, or, it's just crazy. And,
Right.
that's
Right.
the part. It's like, pulling 4 or 5 tricks before they do that. It's just amazing. So you're right. There are rippers everywhere.
Right. And out of those rippers, how many of those dudes will make it to top, say, even a 100 in the world? Like maybe none of them. Like it's the cream of the crop that make it to top 20 or top 10 or top 5 even. Like, you know what I mean? It's insane how consistent you have to be.
But those people that didn't make to the top, they're having so much fun being able to push themselves on these surfaces that aren't killing you. Like my park, Abrasion Basin, I mean, it is terrible. But now it's so nice that you can enjoy it without worry. I think
it still hurts when you fall.
It still hurts. Yeah, it
still hurts.
It does. But you're not worried about little dips and bops and scrapes and this and bumps here and there. It's a smooth world. Team Payne and the other park producers are just wonderful. The stuff they're making it available now.
Yeah. In fact, Ocala is getting finished by the Platform Group. Have you guys heard of the Platform Group?
No.
That's so Ryan Clemens, who runs the Border, started the Platform Group with Tito
Tito.
Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so they're doing it, and I think they did some stuff before Platform Group. Tito worked for that other company, and the name slips me right now.
Oh, there was Tim Baines.
It was after Tim. He started working for this other company. They did like Lot. What's that one in Miami called? Lot something under the bridge and all.
Lot 5 or whatever that is.
Yeah, yeah. That company, Tito was working for that, and then he quit that and started Platform Group with Clemens.
So yeah, I mean, a lot of those
You know,
companies.
I'm just so curious. Is the when we did it was 2,500 psi concrete. Is there some other surface that they're using now, or a
I
different
don't know.
troweling technique, or
I'm
something
sure there
that
is.
just makes it nice?
Yeah, I wish I knew, but I know they know how to do it good. It's like perfect.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
God,
sure
I
it's
is.
think that makes
disciples.
it, that opens it up for all the new people to be able to push the envelope and be so exciting as you've observed.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What do we got going here, Phil?
That's Ocala. There's your guy right there, Monty.
Monty could
People
shake a
don't realize
ramp.
Monty
He's a
had so
power.
many Monty had so many lip tricks. They always, he's always called a power skater, but that guy had so many freaking lip tricks. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, totally.
Loud ones. Very
Yeah.
loud.
And they were all loud. They were loud as fuck.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he'd
I'm
rattle it.
a big fan, dude. I wish he was still skating. I know his knee is messed up, but I know he wants to skate. In his head, he wants to skate. Ooh, there's a slam. Clint Deaton.
This is his spot.
Oh, front
This
side
is-
saran wrap. What?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. What did he just do? Okay. He just went high and then he went higher. How does he do this?
And Monty, man, that was his signature frontside air.
He's
Faded.
Monty freaking Nolder.
It's not real. It's all AI doing it now.
Ouch.
Man, I wish I could see. Like, I feel like it's a pleasure. I got to see him skate, and I wish he was still skating just for fun. But he's such a competitive dude. He doesn't like to just. He wants to fucking rip.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
You got to learn how to just cruise.
Yeah, it's not in his nature.
Yeah, yeah. But I wish he would just cruise and go skate. Like, did you guys skate that pump track thing at in Florida when you were in Jacksonville, the one down south a little bit?
Did they put one at Treaty?
Not that one at that guy's house, that solar troller guy's place. It's at his house.
Yeah, I didn't skate it.
I know a bunch of people went down there after that, like the next
Nice.
day.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah, he's got his own park. You guys know Clint Deaton at all or no?
Yeah, I know who Clint is. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was cool.
It's funny about Monty is he's so burly of a skater, and then you meet the guy, and he's the nicest guy in the world. There's no pretense. There's nothing. He's just Monty. He's awesome.
Yeah.
But if you cross him, he's not a nice guy when he doesn't want to be.
I don't.
Well,
I've heard stories. I've heard stories, and they're not pleasant.
Yeah, yeah. You don't want to get in the way of the hammer.
Livy, there's a Livy sighting. Oh my God.
Is that a public service announcement to our audience?
Yes.
Don't get on Monty's bad side.
Yeah, it would be a very well taken. Don't get on Monty's bad side.
No.
So
He-
where's
So
this?
that's Encinitas when it first got built. I don't know if I know George, you've been to Encinitas, haven't you?
Yeah. Yep.
Did you go to the first one when it was like the hip vert ramp?
I did. Yeah. Oh
with
my
half the
God.
bowl?
Yeah.
They tore that down and built this. So that
Okay.
was-
So this is the second iteration, right?
right.
This, yeah.
And is this still
Yeah.
here? Is this still available?
Now there's like the third or fourth thing. Like they tore this
Yeah,
down.
This
Built
is a
that
couple
over.
generations old. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy how much of a mecca California is to skating. Like you guys have everything out there.
It's ridiculous. It is
Yeah.
ridiculous. I mean, I live in a tiny town, and my closest park is San Luis Obispo, and 50,000 population, and there's Cal Poly is there. We got a freaking world-class skate park.
Wow. I would
Yeah.
like to go there. I went to Cal Poly and did a demo on campus in about
Nice.
1999, I think, and that was a lot of fun.
They had the they did uh God, they did a fundraiser where there was a skating for 24 hours grind. It was a grind, a grind fest or something where they skated 24 hours straight to raise money. But yeah, there was a vert ramp there on the Cal Poly campus.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if you could bring enough weed to do that. I mean, that's 24 hours. That would take a lot.
You know Matt Moffitt? That's Matt Moffitt in the middle. That guy rips. He's a California guy, San Diego dude.
It looks
And
like
that's-
Rodney Mullen.
That's Chris Livingston.
Yeah, Chris
That
Livingston.
Yeah.
So when I moved to California, I moved to San Diego. I moved downtown San Diego, and Livingston was my neighbor.
Nice. That's a good neighbor to have. He's got his finger on the pulse.
100%. And he's a cool guy. You know, like how these kids, when you can either get mixed up with the right or the wrong crew, like when you're coming up. If you get mixed up with the wrong people, you might end up doing drugs or might end up drinking or whatever. And these guys didn't drink at all. They didn't do drugs at all. So they kind of took me under their wing when I was, 19 years old, 20 years old.
That's awesome.
I didn't grow up with, I didn't have any partying around me at all back then.
That's
Good for you.
Man.
Yeah.
Livy's taken us to a couple of pools in Arizona, and always a freaking gas to skate with that cat.
Yeah, he rips pools, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
You think of a line, he's like, yep, okay,
So
boom.
when was this? 1990, you say, about then?
I'd say 98.
98. So this is like
99.
20 some years ago. Has their abilities to get to that level been translated into a career other than skateboarding for these fellows?
Well, Livingston is a physical therapist. He kills it with that. And then Moffitt owns his own skate shop, and it's right next to a skate park. It slips me exactly where it is, but he's on the East Coast now, and he's doing well too. He's got a family. They both have families, kids. They did well. They're happy.
That's
It's
good.
hard to make money off the act of skateboarding.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like any sport you go into, but in that you have a camaraderie and a learning curve and I'm into youth mental health issues, and I think skateboarding helps with mental health growth for young people. And so I was just curious to see where they went, because I know a couple of Sensation Basin people have gone on to become doctors, and if
Wow.
that's good, I don't know if that's good or not.
Or
But
go on to become
could have
Rodney
been
Mullen.
derelicts like me, But
Good point, George.
They can go on to become Rodney Mullen, for crying out loud.
that's true.
I ran into Rodney in New York 2 weekends ago at the Bones Brigade thing. And it was so much fun to sit down and talk with him about old times. It was
Wait,
great.
you had a moment with Rodney 2 weeks ago?
I had Rodney, well, it was the Bones Brigade thing, and so Rodney was there, but Gelfand showed up too.
Oh, wow.
That was
great.
cool as hell. So we were all just having a little Florida moment, and McGill was there. So we had our little Florida.
Wow. Did you get a picture?
It was, yeah.
Okay. Well, someday you're going to have to talk about your adventure up there. That's good.
Okay.
So everybody's healthy. Alan Gelfand's healthy, and
He's
McGill's
still
healthy.
just as kooky as ever, and Rodney is great. Rodney and Tony Hawk are two of the funniest human beings when it comes to, and Hawk is intentional. Rodney is not intentional.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
they
I
are
think
both.
they got a great chemistry. That's
They
great.
do. It is great. But anyway, I'm sorry I'm bogarting on that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that's all right though.
it was good to see
Breaking
Rodney.
news. That was good.
He doesn't disavow his Florida roots, and he's still his sisters still don't like the sweaty, unwashed masses of skateboarders. But those are the two things we talked about. But
Cool. There you go. That's good news. That's fun.
yes.
A
So
lot of people don't know that Rodney's from Gainesville, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know that. And Dr. Mullen, right? His dad was Dr.
Yeah.
Mullen.
Yeah.
Dental practice.
Yeah. And then
So where's
McGuigan's dad was Dr. McGuigan, right? Wasn't he
Yeah.
a
Yep.
doctor?
Yep.
yeah.
They lived right next to each other, I think, or very close.
Hmm.
Um, that's
Phil, would you like me to send you some of John McGuigan's music, original music? I'm sure he would
Sure.
not mind if I did that.
I would love to hear some of that.
I'll have to dig it up out of my archive of hard drives sitting in the dust on the floor someplace.
It's not on play all the time. It's not like repeat.
No, it's good. It's interesting. I mean, it's music. It's in a jazz punk kind of thing. I don't know.
So Phil, is this your ramp?
Yeah, that's when we're building the ramp. That's Mike Cruz to the left there, and then John Garr in the middle, no longer with us. But that was the main. Mike Cruz is the main guy building the ramp, and then John Garr was there the whole time, donated all his time for free. Awesome individual. And then Michael Martin was helping us too. Those were the three main dudes, and the community helped. Like everybody, it was essentially weekends when everyone would come together and help, and we got it done, man. Just the community.
that ramp looks so high when you're looking at it from this angle.
Yeah, it's not
To
good.
say that's higher than what Tony's got at the Bird's Nest or Hawk's Nest, whatever it's called. This looks higher. It just
No.
Yeah, but
Bird's
Tony's
Nest is
bigger.
fucking big.
Yeah, but it's pretty small comparatively speaking to like other vert ramps.
This looks like store-bought wood. It's different than the stuff from the.
Store-bought wood.
scan that, Phil. Go
Yeah.
ahead and get some price.
Man, I don't miss paying for all that wood.
Ay, ay, ay.
That was during COVID too. That was 2020, right in the middle of COVID.
Did you get any sort of deal on the skate light?
We did. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk
Yeah,
about.
that's not bring that up.
I'm glad you got a deal. That's all that matters.
Yeah. We got a deal.
It's that and their competitor, both manufactured in the state of Washington. So freight's not an issue. Hello,
Yeah, right?
you know.
We just had to buy 5 more sheets, and the freight is like 5 sheets, $750 in shipping. You know, for 5.
No-brainer.
Yeah, 5 by 12 sheets. So, and the price went up on the sheets a lot, but manufacturing's gone up. I mean, it's not their fault. Back then too, there was someone in marketing, Melissa, who was super cool, and she was doing a lot of good deals for the skaters back then.
That's great.
It's just
Well, maybe
Yeah.
there'll be some new polymers that come out that can lessen the cost and increase the quality.
So
I'm sorry.
so X Games. So what's the mechanics on that? So they call you up and say, "Hey, Phil, we want you to skate in the X Games," or what's the?
You had to qualify back then. I think lately it's not. I don't know if it's still qualifying anymore, but it got away from qualifying for a while. It was like invite only.
Right. Yeah.
When I did it, you had to qualify. You had to go to all the contests before it, and if you placed top 20, then you got in.
Nice.
So I had to skate a bunch of different contests and qualify. And I did it a few times, but I was never like your top 10 dude.
Right.
It's so competitive, man. It's like,
So who was competing in X Games in the years you were there?
I bet Tony won every one of those.
Okay, so there was didn't matter who else was there because Tony was going to win.
I think that one year I went, Giorgio won. Giorgio's at Tony.
Yeah.
That was the year Tony threw his medal into the crowd. He was pissed.
Oh, come on, little man. Jeez.
I mean,
Oh,
it's it's hard to beat Tony. I think they might have given it to Giorgio just because they're like, man, let's give it to somebody else.
Well, when I was talking with Tony last or 2 weeks ago, he was like, I've gone to contests and I've done the best run, but it wasn't everything I could have done, and the judges penalized him for it.
Mm.
They're like, oh no, we saw you do this other trick, so we wanted to see that. And it's like, fuck, I'm still doing 20 other tricks no one else can do. But
Yeah.
that was Hawk, and then was that who was killing it back then? Who was getting second place?
You got it was either Bob Burnquist,
Okay,
Bucky Classic.
okay, so that was
between those two, Andy McDonald.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So like you couldn't get top 5. Like how are you going to beat Bob? How are you going to beat Andy Mack? He never falls. How are you going to beat Tony? How are you going to beat Bucky?
Yep.
And then
Bucky coming up with a new trick every other day.
Yeah.
Andy.
Yeah. It's just a waste of my time.
And then they had a couple of guys from South America that came on. Forgot what their names are.
Sandro Diaz, probably.
Red Bull guys. Red Bull guys too, right?
Yeah. And then you had the back then Tuss Pappas, Ben Pappas,
The Aussies, yeah.
Chris Gentry. Who else? I mean, then you have all the other dudes: Mike Crum, Mike Frazier, Brian Howard, Paul Zitzer. Like, there's all the other 20 dudes. So good luck, like getting even top 10.
Yeah,
crazy, man.
And it's subjective judging versus timed judging. That's so you got to play that game too.
So after that, I decided I'm just going to do shows, because back then you could make a living doing demos. You could cruise around and just do a show and get paid $200 to $500 for the day with zero pressure, and you could do that for 3 months out of the year. So that's when.
That was warp tour type stuff, or
right.
Oh,
I think
so there's no first place there. It's just go have fun.
Yeah, exactly. It was more fun, which is right up my alley.
Did you find yourself improving or skating better? And
in a different way. Like when you skate contests, you need to practice 16 to 18 walls, 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So, but when you're doing a demo, you could skate 8 walls and just do like some bigger stuff, and that's all they care about. It's just different and more fun to skate demos.
So did you ever have to get dressed up in a costume like Tony Alva did in Venezuela?
No. They tried to make me dress up one time at a demo, and I was like, negative. I think they tried to put me in a Woody Woodpecker outfit.
Oh.
That's the where's
Dan Murray made a bunch of money being Burger King, so you put the outfit on and you get the royalties.
I know, and I was like, hell no, I'm not doing it.
So you're from Trinidad and Tobago, right? Tobago,
right? That's where I was born. Yeah,
and you're working. I want to make sure we get this in here. Your biometrics, bioaccelerator. Stem cell treatment. You're going to go do that shortly, or?
Yeah, I'm flying out on Sunday to Medellin, Colombia, to Bioaccelerator on the advice of Tony Hawk, Danny Way, and Andy Mack, and Jason Ellis. They've all done it, and they said nothing but good things. So I'm going to give it a shot.
And help us out now. What's the stem cell process for?
I don't know if you guys are familiar with stem cells, but everybody has them in their body. You make them, and they're made in your blood. So like they're made out of inside your femur or inside your hip, makes your red blood cells, and there's stem cells inside there. So you naturally have them, and stem cells essentially grow anything on your body, right? Stem cells grow bone, they grow organs, like they fix anything. So what they're doing is taking stem cells from umbilical cords, from babies, when the umbilical cords, they take it out of that, and then they expand them So they multiply them into like hundreds of millions of them, and then they shoot them right back into the injury. That's the theory behind it. Fuck, I really hope it works because I've been dealing with back pain for a long time. So,
yeah, I want to know how it works too. I have 4 screws and 2 rods and L456. So
I've got 2 hips, and they were telling me to try stem cell, but it just wasn't mainstream enough for my medical gang to help to do
Stem cell insurance won't cover. That's the bad part.
I know. They're trying to get it moved into the US. So you can get stem cells in the US, but the difference is they'll literally stick a needle in your femur or your hip and they'll pull it out. And then they'll just essentially shoot it right back into you, which is not as many stem cells.
Right.
They for whatever reason, it's not allowed to. You're not allowed in the U.S. to expand them and grow more. It's like unethical or something.
Well, we're rooting for you. This would be great if you're back. How long do you think it takes for a session or a couple sessions?
Well, you go down there for a week and you come back, and they say it takes from anywhere from it could be 6 months to 8 months of continually getting better to feel the full effect.
Wow! But you don't have to go get more on-site stuff. Just
no, I'm going one time.
And 8 months from now, we'll have a backup show, and you can be dancing and
right.
I love it.
Andy Mack swears by it. That's true. I've got a bad knee, and I am right now. It's either stem cell or knee replacement. I'm fighting back.
George, why don't you book a fight with Phil and go down there tomorrow or whenever?
Because he has to do preparation.
I've got
preparation for this.
I got to rob a few banks, Phil. That's why. So
it's not cheap down there, no doubt. I hooked up with them and signed it like a year deal. So I'm able to get it. It's affordable, or else I really wouldn't have been able to afford it. You know.
You're not going to bring a horse?
Huh?
Trading a horse or anything?
Barter a horse for it. That's nice.
Yeah, bartered. I definitely bartered.
Well, I don't think it would be called a horse. It would be a thoroughbred, right?
It is.
All right.
Yes. So with the Warped Tour over in Europe, you were doing like Munster and some of those places, or what was the deal? I know you had a pretty big presence over in Europe.
I did. The Warped Tour I did Europe twice for the Warped Tour, but we did all the World Cup contests too, which is Munster and all the ones that you can remember.
With Titus and
I never met that guy, but all that. I did all those. The Warped Tour is cooler though because it's not a contest; it's shows with bands. So you're traveling with bands. You're traveling with at the time a ton of bands. I mean, Ice-T, Eminem, Black Eyed Peas, No Effects, Bad Religion, Rancid.
How did they lay this out? You got any pictures of that, Ed, of the band playing and Phil on a ramp behind them? Or
that's the 720. The 720 I did is at the Warped Tour, so that's how it was every single day in a different location.
Was the ramp near the stage, or was it off to someplace else?
Sometimes it was in front of, like near the stage. Sometimes off to the side. Depends. Salba at the time was putting the ramp up that year that I have that video. So that was cool. I got to travel with Sabo for like 6 months.
Wow.
Awesome.
Kind of a Monty strength skater, right?
Through Saba?
I can't hear Ed. I can't hear you too well. Did you
I'm
change?
Sorry. I don't know why. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but we don't care.
Monty, Alba is an aggressive skater. I mean, when you cut your teeth at Upland, you've got to be pretty ballsy to skate that. And then every time I've seen him or anything, he's focused. He's skating. None of this other stuff. Just gonna focus. And you gotta respect that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, Monty's misinterpreted as moody. It's just he doesn't want to deal with the communication barrier that he has. He'd rather just skate, and he's so nice. I mean, you must have got some of that with Alva though. If you're traveling with him.
So Edgar, are you sharing something? We got a black
Yes.
screen.
Well, why don't you grab a couple vials of stem cell for Monty and just jam it in there when you get back? So,
He
Can
asked
you
me
not
about
see
it.
anything?
I can't see anything.
I don't see anything.
He brings
You
back a
guys.
ball of stem cells. Awesome.
Jesus Christ.
He asked me about it though. Like he wants to do it because
I-
his knee's messed up.
Everyone, yeah, there's a lot of people on the sidelines looking at that. And who was it? Who did we interview down south? With Mark Lake. Mark Lake's partner got stem cell on his knee, and he said it worked freaking great. So,
Like long term or just that weekend or something?
That's the Warped Tour. That's somewhere in Europe. This is Europe.
that is legit.
See in the background, there's Cab. Cab's
That's
up the ramp, and that's Rick Thorne, I think, behind him.
That's a proper McTwist.
Yeah, that's a 5 for sure. All the Euros.
How was it working with Red Bull? They seem to sponsor so much as extreme sport stuff. I know in the skydiving area, there's a bunch of them. Red Bull sponsoring. Did you ever meet up with the marketing departments of Red Bull or these?
I did. This year, this picture was the year that I got on Red Bull. So this is like '99, I think. They used the Red Bull ramp for the whole Warped Tour Europe, and the dude who was putting up the ramp knew the owner of Red Bull, and I got to hang in with him, and he got me on the team, and I was the first Red Bull guy in the U.S. because each country has its own athletes. There's Red Bull Germany, there's Red Bull Brazil, and now there's Red Bull North America. So I got on North America, but I got to fly back to Salzburg, I think is what it's called, in Austria, where Red Bull is from. And I went to Red Bull and I walked around and checked it all out. It was insane, man. That's a huge company.
Yeah.
And they spend a lot on their athletes.
They were printing money back then. They just, if you went down the hall and opened up one of the doors, you just open up and see just mounds of. They just.
Hey, that sounds like my house, George. Yeah, that's right.
That's the Warped Tour too. There's Cab in the background. I feel honored to have gotten to skate with Cab so much too. Like back then, it was just normal. But looking back, I'm like, damn, dude, I got to travel with Steve Caballero for 5 years. It was so rad.
And he always has his face.
What about Mountain Dew? Now, Mountain Dew is a Pepsi company, correct?
I don't know, but they don't do anything anymore. But for a while, Mountain Dew was doing a lot.
At the Dew Tour, yeah.
Pepsi was the sponsor for our competition in Gainesville, and I'm just wondering, did they get publicity out of that they decided to bring Mountain Dew along? So I don't know.
That's crazy that you dealt with Pepsi so long ago.
78. Yeah.
Did they give you money back then?
Well, they brought in their Pepsi Challenge machine and they paid for some banners and stuff. So it was like nobody was sponsoring nothing back then. It was all hang up a banner, oh, sure, whatever.
Yeah, free Pepsi or something.
Yeah, right, that kind of thing.
Red Bull was great when we were running. So I used to live in Albuquerque, and we used to run the ditch contests out there. And we knew the local Red Bull rep, and he'd just like, let us know however much you want. And they would just, cases would show up at the garage, or we'd have the after party over at Palmer's Pool, and just here you go. You got the little the can cooler, and they were always great for extreme sports.
Yeah, what's crazy about Red Bull is they wanted you to party too. It was weird. It was like they encouraged you to go out drinking Red Bull vodka all night and go to the demo the next day. Like it was a weird. It seems like such a weird thing to do for your athletes.
Did they have you wear Red Bull outfits while you were out partying?
The helmet.
The helmet. That helmet was
all the time.
helmet was gold. You had that helmet. You were envied.
I still got one, I think. Yeah, I still got one.
Fuck yes.
All right,
there he goes.
Yay!
I'm gonna have to go get my flyaway.
So interesting piece. So Sector 9, kind of the same way. Sector 9 used to spend a whole lot of money in the industry. And so a good friend of mine was one of their pros. And of course, him being a pro meant I was on flow. But so I would, travel with them a lot. But Red Bull or Sector 9 was like, hey, go to the contest. But, if you're not feeling it, it's okay. You don't have to skate. Just hang out and be cool. Don't be an asshole. I'm like,
Yeah.
Fuck yes, I like that.
Yeah, really.
So they'd fly you to a contest, you'd hang out, you'd skate in the park, and do whatever we would use it. We'd skate in the contest and almost, I don't want to say tank, but we were never bummed whenever we got eliminated, because then we'd go out and skate some of the local pools. That's just like, okay, we're gonna go travel, go get our obligations done, and then go hit some pools.
Well, I think that's part of skateboarding. I don't remember any bullying in skateboard. If you fall down, people help you. If you're doing something, they cheer for you. There's nobody going, oh, you're no good, whatever the bullying thing is. But it just seems like the activity of skateboarding is so positive, and it's just, I don't know, it's my rant.
Unless you're John McGuigan.
Yeah, well,
I made a note. I'm sending you his music.
Jason Jesse was sometimes got involved in that. But
yeah, it's funny to hear the hecklers.
Hey, this has been really fun. We could just talk on a couple more nights on this kind of stuff, because your experiences with the major players around the world and everything, that people never get to experience that sort of thing. You're in an echelon that people just dream about, and it's really been an honor for me to sit here and listen to it and be able to chat with you. It's just fabulous.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. I have fun talking with you guys too. I could sit here and talk all night about skateboarding.
You were skating with PLG there. I saw some freaking Frazier level tricks there. That was a sweet run.
This was Tampa Am. So, Tampa's big now, but this was before skateboarding's completely dead right here, 1995. But back then, this was the first Tampa Am, I think, or the second one. I don't know if like back then, if you won Tampa Am, you go pro right after.
Yeah, yep.
That was the thing.
So
all these dudes are pro. All those guys are pro.
So this was after the first round. You were in 5th place?
No, this is the street contest. I got 5th in street back then.
I got you.
All those dudes are pro. Neil Mims, Brian Chris, Mike Maldonado, Kenny Hughes. Wow.
Throwing it back. But I think I've got video of the first Tampa Am ramp. Let me get through this.
Yeah, that's the first Tampa Am ramp.
That's legit.
And that was Paul Zitzer's ramp before they moved it to Tampa.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, hey,
Anthony Furlong. Hell yes.
On the top of the leaderboard there.
It was a good day.
And Greg Heiler. Holy cow. Freaking the Hermit.
So what move did you pull off that you had to pull off?
Back then, if you did a 540 and a flip trick, you win the contest. Now that doesn't get you in the cut at all.
Jeez. So 540 and a kick flip invert?
Yeah, if you did a 5 and a flip trick, you win.
Nice. Hey Edgar, I gotta punch out.
Okay, brother.
You guys can continue on, speak amongst yourselves.
No, I gotta go. It's past my bedtime. I'm on the East Coast here. Ed, let's wrap this sucker up and say thanks to Phil for this whole thing.
No, thank you guys.
Yeah. So hold on a minute. There, you can't just throw this at me and expect me to have this done here.
All right.
I'm trying to get everything a little bit better. So thank you, Phil, for
no worries.
Phil and George and I. And also, hey, welcome to the Florida Skateboard Hall of Fame, man.
Thanks.
You made it stronger by being a part of it.
Can I ask, are you guys all going to be at Jacksonville next year?
Yes.
I will.
Okay.
I will be.
Oh, I missed this one. There was because they moved the date a couple of times, so I kind of got smoggled on that. But this time, if it's locked in, I'll definitely be showing up.
We got to find a way to get Monty there. He bought a ticket that was not insured.
I know, and I offered to give him a free ticket, and he still didn't go. After I was like, dude, I got miles. I'll fly you there, and he's like, nah, those fucking guys changed the dates.
So, Phil, can we expect your back to feel good next January?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
All right, Ed, wrap it up. Let's get out of here.
Thanks for joining us on the Skateboarding Bros Show. This is our 56th episode. We make no money, we lose money, and we have a ball doing it. So if you like Florida skateboard history, this is the place for you. And Phil Hajal, thank you very much. And everybody, appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Guys, have a good night.
You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.